All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your spiritual vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and like and share this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so we have a guest today. God Ausere is here, and you all have seen him before. I've had him on before, and also he's been on my main channel. So today he's going to be talking about some metaphysical and spiritual things, and I'm just going to let you get started. God Ausere, we're going to be talking about spiritual cloning, probably some spiritual monitoring, and whatever else you feel like talking about. So I'm gonna let you take it away.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so basically, so you wanted to get straight into spiritual cloning.
Sure. Let me just say, everybody, please do me a favor and get those fire emojis in the chat for God Ausere. Can I get the fire emojis in the chat, Stardusters? Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, true indeed. Well, I guess to start off with, because I actually had this conversation earlier this week, somewhat of a similar conversation on my show, talking about spiritual, what I call spiritual clones. You know what I'm saying? And you mentioned the term. What's the term you mentioned? You told me
monitoring spirits.
Monitoring spirits. There you go. So, to be honest, like the term monitoring spirits is something that I've been seeing a lot lately. I would say probably like over the past year or so. But again, I know these things exist just from experience. I just, back then we never referred to it as monitoring spirits, but it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, nevertheless, spiritual clones. So I'm gonna just say this, like if you are somebody who is just simply living in your authenticity, you know what I mean? If you just every day you're doing something that's authentically you, you know what I mean? So regardless of where you are on your spiritual path, you just simply just doing what you came here to do. Now you always have, certain individuals that may start off being your supporters. They may start off being people who show admiration, um, and things of that nature. But it gets to a point to where you have some people to where, you know, the love starts to turn more into uh, somewhat of an obsession, or love turns into hate. You know what I mean? So just to fast forward, so a spiritual clone is someone, you know, they may see you, and you know they may you know, they may take some of the things you do, maybe even mimic you, all the way down to the way you speak, all the way down to the way your mannerisms. They try to take on your personality. A lot of spiritual, what I call spiritual clones, actually suffer from what I call personality disorder. They don't know who they are, you know, internally. They haven't found their authentic self. They don't know what they're here to do. So again, they have to find something to be. And in the midst of this, you know, they may actually, you know, speak as though they actually have a disdain towards you when they're in a certain group of people. But when they go off, they actually try, you know, they trying to mimic everything that you do. You know what I'm saying? And you may or may not even be aware of this. This person could be someone that you know personally, or it can be someone that's, you know, a complete stranger. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, again, that's in a nutshell what I like to call a spiritual clone, you know, to say
So
the least.
they basically really admire you from afar, and they like things about you but hate you at the same time. So they like certain things about you, so they want those things for themselves. They want to mimic those and try to take on your own characteristics, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, that all makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of
Absolutely.
sense. And these people will be obsessed with you because they'll watch every little thing that you do.
Absolutely. And it's not even and the thing is, it's like, you know, let's just say me and you know, we both got a fishing reel, and we go to the same lake that has the same amount of fish in it. You know, you know, you catch, you know, you put in a lot of work, and you know, you catch quite a bit more fish than me. I catch a couple. But instead of me, you know, taking what I caught, I would rather have yours. I don't want mine. I want yours. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, and again, it's much deeper than what you see on the surface.
Right.
And then, you know, the admiration becomes an obsession, and then it turns into a hate, because what people don't understand is that when you want to, especially when you're trying to mimic someone who's put in spiritual work. Let me be clear, like when I say this, like what you see, you have no idea what people like us have to, you know, necessarily go through,
That's
you
right.
know, on that spiritual path. Like when I start talking about shadow work, when I start talking about actually knowing how to, you know, deal with transmutation, you know, how to sit in the dark, how to deal with the dark and transmute that into light. They don't want to do that. You know,
Right.
they want the end result. But when we start talking about putting in the work, it's like they don't want to do that. And so it's like looking at you, it's like me saying, that's, I can do exactly what she's doing. I can do exactly what he's doing. But when you start trying to do it, you quickly realize it's not what you think. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's just one of the things that I, you know, in a nutshell, of what I coin a spiritual clone to be. Yeah.
All right, got it. Okay, so that's very interesting. I never heard that term until I heard it
Mhm.
from you. Now, so let's talk a bit about the monitoring spirits. What do you think about that?
To be honest, I mean, you know,
You think that's
again,
pretty much close to the spiritual cloning, to those sort of
absolutely, but
people?
yeah, absolutely. That's why I said it. You know, I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really, you know, to be honest, I don't really at this point on my path, I don't really feed too much into it, but I am aware, because why are they monitoring you in the first place? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If someone is trying to monitor you, what is their reasoning behind monitoring you? The
Mm-hmm.
reason why a lot of people you have monitoring spirits is primarily to sabotage you. You have different energies and entities that are placed in front of you along your path in order to stop you. And it's not the individual, it's the energy that moves through the individual. And so, you know, they're monitoring you, so-called monitoring you. But honestly, if you once you let me just say this, all of this can be avoided by simply raising your frequency to a certain level, and none of that can actually even get to you.
Right.
So spiritual protection is really a very important thing. And when I say spiritual protection, it's a lot more to it than just staging yourself and, and
Right.
things of that nature. Those things help, but properly spiritually cleansing is
Mm-hmm.
a thing that is important. But even when you do that, you got to know how to set up a barrier of protection around you to where they can't look. I'm gonna give you one of the things that's important when you around the home. If you have monitoring spirits, pay very close attention to when you standing in your mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your mirrors clean. You can use Florida water, things of that nature, to kind of wipe your mirrors down. And then, if you want to go as far as to, smudging around around the mirrors, that's cool. But, just keep your mirrors clean, and, keep yourself protected to actually avoid them from actually trying to peek into your energy. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can try, but if you have a certain level of protection, more importantly, if you're on a certain vibrational frequency, none of that really it really doesn't even matter. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. So
Spiritually protected. Now that reminds me of something, because there was someone that was trying to put voodoo on me, and not for a good reason, but they're trying to put voodoo on me, right? And so I was seeing a person who was connected to this person who was helping them to do it. I know this because I saw the person in my dream. Like, I had like 3 dreams about this person. And the funny thing is, prior to them doing this, I had a dream, and it was a lucid dream, where the shaman ancestors, okay, from the Cherokee tribe, they came to me and they had me in a field, and they performed a smudging ritual over me, and they put a prayer of protection over me, and basically told me to go ahead and keep doing what I'm doing, spread the word, and that I'm going to be protected. And so it was crazy, because months later, when this person or these people tried to put me under spiritual attack, right? I was able to know who it was and what they were doing. And matter of fact, like I said, I saw one of the people in their family in the dream. I saw this person every time I dreamt. Now, at the time, I didn't know who this person was, but my spirit told me who it was. And in fact, I later found out exactly who it was. But they couldn't do anything, and I wasn't even afraid of it. Right. And so once I came on my live, because there's somebody on YouTube, once I came on my live and I announced who the person was and called them by name and what they were trying to do and let them know that I know, then all of a sudden it stopped. I thought that
yeah,
was interesting.
yeah. Yeah, man. Like it's let me say this too. It's a lot of that going on now. I'm gonna be like, just to be clear, like I've been doing this work for a long time. Like when I started on my path, there was not TikTok did not exist. You didn't have as many people speaking out about this on YouTube, on the spiritual path and things of that nature. So like I saw a lot of things happen, but what I'm noticing now with a lot of newcomers and people that's just now getting into spirituality and things of that nature, for one, let me say that it's definitely levels to spirituality. It's not, it doesn't
Absolutely.
just stop here. I don't care how many candles you go light in your kitchen trying to do stuff to people like that. That ain't going, like when you get on a certain frequency, like that shit don't work. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
right.
it's like we surpassed that. And what a lot of people don't even understand is that there's something called spiritual laws and universal laws that actually govern everything in the spiritual realm.
That's right.
So when you start just doing things just crazy to, sending things toward people, and you don't know you don't know this person's spiritual ranking. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I done a show a couple of weeks ago talking about your spiritual status. Your physical status is one thing, but your spiritual status and your spiritual ranking is a whole different conversation. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So
That's right.
say I use the example of, let's just say that you work for a corporation, you in the corporate world. You have you work in a corporate world, and then let's just say that you have this person that's in a higher position than you, and they looking at you like, they just not being fair. They looking down on you as though,
Mm-hmm.
you are nobody to them because they
Right.
have that physical status. However, what they don't know is that you have a strong connection to your ancestral family, and you come from a strong ancestral lineage. Your soul evolves, which means that if you've been here multiple times, each time that you come here, your soul is evolving. So the more you come here, the more you go up in the ranks. So it's like going through school. So if you go through the ranks enough, you know, you might graduate. You might come back in this lifetime with a higher spiritual ranking. So you on that job and that person is looking at you.
Oh, darn it.
They look down on
Okay,
you.
here he comes back. Right.
Okay, so they look down on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's just say that you know, the next thing you know, that person come to work the next day and they may, you know, they may just randomly trip and fall down 2 flights of stairs and lose that position. Not only will they lose that position, now they sitting at home and don't know what happened, and now you've been promoted into their position just simply because they violated you, not knowing what your ranking was spiritually. And I'm just using
Right.
that as a
As an
mundane
example.
example. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And so they don't know
Mhm.
who they're messing with. And some people don't realize that some people are blessed and highly favored. And that's just a fact.
Mhm.
Okay. So now let's talk about these familiar spirits or anything else you want to talk about. Let's just cover a myriad of different things.
Yeah, just shoot. You can shoot me anything. Shoot me a question. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let's talk about bloodline curses, things like that.
Mhm.
Like someone in your family may have done something nefarious, and then that caused the entire lineage or the entire bloodline to have a generational curse. Now, do you have any experiences or know of anyone who's had something like that to happen? And how can you break generational curses?
Mm. Yeah, that's a you know, the generational curses is it's a complex topic. I mean, yeah, so if you have someone that like in your lineage that has done some things to like kind of like place a generational curse on your bloodline, then that will affect you. It will affect the entire bloodline until someone comes along and actually breaks that curse. So some of us that are here right now that's probably watching this video right now, we know that we are the generational curse breakers of our lineage. We know that there are certain patterns and things of that nature that has been placed on our bloodline that, you know, mama and daddy did this, and you know, and we got to break that generational curse. So until someone comes along and actually breaks that curse from that lineage, that curse will continue to stay on that particular bloodline. And
Mm-hmm.
as far as how to break it, you know, again, it's a complex topic to go into, but I will say that in order to break it, you have to actually, you know, break the pattern that caused it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's simply just stopping whatever that pattern is in that lineage or that bloodline in order to actually change it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if your whole, you know, going generations back, you know, had a particular habit or a particular pattern, each generation did the same thing, and then you come along and you say, hey, I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna change this thing because I know this is not what, you know, this is not it. And once
Mm-hmm.
you're able to do that, then, you know, from that point going forward, your generation, your lineage will be clear. Now, I will say that when you break in generational curses, it is not an easy thing to do. It can be very difficult to do because all of that you holding all of that brink on you, all of that, you know, all of that that has accumulated through generations is now piled up on you to break it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you have to be the one to like, you know, rise to the occasion and you know, and break through it. And you're gonna have to deal with a lot. You have to face a lot of darkness in order to break it, in order to transmute it, because it's not just you and your energy that you're dealing with. We talking about generations worth of energy and trauma. You know, there's something called epigenetic memory, which means that from the mother, she passes memories down to the child, you know, through
Right.
the DNA. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
through a piece of tissue that's actually carried during birth
Right.
that the child actually takes with them.
Right, right. So these things they don't just go away. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
know, it's passed down through the DNA, even dating back to like, you know, ancient times. You know what I'm saying? So you know, we have a lot of things that could potentially be in our DNA, and there's ways for you to actually tap into. There's certain things in your DNA that you would like that you need to tap into, but
Mm-hmm.
there's other things that you need to break. So Yeah.
Now, and speaking of the generational curses, in my experience from things that I have researched and from people that I just know that may be going through something like that, it seems that in many of the cases, it tends to start with the firstborn of each next generation.
Mm,
Have you ever noticed that? Like it'll be, for example, it was one person where they had this there was problems with the grandmother, right? The
mhm,
grandmother's oldest child, and
mhm.
then that child's oldest child, and then so on and so forth. It was always the firstborn. And that just made me it reminded me of the biblical story of when God told Moses at the burning bush to go and tell Pharaoh to let his people free. And if he did not, he was going to send the plagues upon them. And one of those, well, he'll be back in a second, but for one of those plagues, it was to have the firstborn in every household to die. So even in the Bible, it talked about the firstborn. So I just thought that was very interesting. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, here he is. Add him back to the stage.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
he fell off for a second. That's okay.
yeah, I
So,
know. Yeah, I accidentally hit the wrong thing. So
oh, that's
my bad.
okay. So, did you hear what I was saying though?
I heard you got cut off right at the part. I didn't hear the last bit.
Okay, so
No.
I was saying that, I it reminded me of the fact that these people that I know that it happens to the firstborn in their family.
Mhm.
Well, it reminded me of the story in the Bible where Moses was told to tell Pharaoh to let God's people go, and if he didn't, God was going to send the plagues upon them. And one of the plagues was to the death of the firstborn, to kill the firstborn in every household. So it's
Right.
even in the Bible they spoke about the firstborn, and I wonder what kind of significance that has, because with these generational curses, it seems to disproportionately, at least in the things that I've researched and the people that I know, it affects the firstborn of
Yeah.
each generation, which I find very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does. It does. And but overall, it generally affects everyone in the lineage. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's always one in every family. I say this: there's one who incarnates in every generation that is supposed to be the generational curse breaker for that generation. You know what I'm saying? There's a chosen one in every family.
Right.
Every family, for every incarnation, there's a chosen one to break that lineage. And when we incarnate here, we actually incarnate in groups. What we call our, you know, we incarnate in groups or soul groups. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you incarnate in different families. You know, the last lifetime you might, this relative may have been someone else to you, and so forth. You know, but not to get off topic, but yeah, that yeah, it affects everybody. It affects everybody in terms of family goals and the lineage. So
Right. Because
mhm,
even if it doesn't necessarily mean that, how do I want to put it? Okay, yes, it does affect everybody, because if you look at it like this, let's say it's the firstborn in this specific family, right? And this person is very nefarious, like they're a sociopath, narcissist, or they're very wicked, mean, evil, violent, or
mhm,
they, the things that they do can traumatize or bring harm to other people in the family. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? And that's how I look at it. But also, I forgot what I was going to say. It was something that you just said, when you're talking about breaking these curses. Okay, so there's different ways. I would imagine there's different ways to break the curses, and different people are different things that people are supposed to do, the ones that are chosen. Now, the chosen
Mhm.
people in these families that are sent to break these curses, those people are often, if not always, the black sheep of the family, because those people are more into spirituality. They have like a deeper connection with the Most High, just from my research and from me personally, from my own personal experience. And these people are the ones that are usually like the black sheep of the family. People think they sound crazy. Some of the stuff
Mhm.
seems far-fetched. They're not very receptive to it. Whereas really,
Okay.
this person is more spiritually in tune than the rest.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely it. The black sheep. And
Mm-hmm.
let me say this too. Like when you incarnate into a family, you might think that how like you might be thinking like, now how in the hell did I incarnate in this family? Because like you feel completely, isolated.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna say this: you know, the soul chooses to incarnate in a family. For the chosen one, it's a hard journey. Like it's a, you go through the dark night of the soul. You go through that process of actually transforming your whole entire being. You know what I'm saying? And so
Hmm.
you incarnate into a family that may put you into, you know, extremely tough circumstances that the average person would not be able to endure. The reason being,
Right.
the reason why your soul chooses that is because you actually have to have that resistance in order for your soul to evolve. Resistance makes stronger. You know what I'm saying? And even though
Right.
it feels painful, listen, if something is not triggering you, then it is not effective. We don't transform by being comfortable. So let's just say you was placed in the perfect circumstance, in a perfect situation, your soul would not really evolve because there would be nothing to work through. You know,
Right.
so out of darkness comes light. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
instead of searching for the light, we have to become the light while surrounded by darkness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a
So
very good point. And that also
yeah,
brings me back to what Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there's no progress. That's
absolutely.
that's why people who go through struggles, who weather the storms, are a whole lot more relentless, than other people. They
Absolutely.
can put up with a whole lot, whereas some people would crack. They couldn't,
Yeah.
they couldn't withstand the pressure. So yeah, that builds strength and character, and that makes you a stronger person. And it also gives you more mental power too, a stronger
Absolutely.
mindset when you have to go through those things. So yeah, that's all good information. Now let's talk about these familiar spirits.
Right, right. Um, Before you go into that, now you were saying familiar spirits, what you call
Mm-hmm.
them?
Yeah, familiar
Okay.
spirits. That's what people call them. These spirits that
Yeah,
know the person, and they are purposely, there specifically to harass these people, to oppress them, to cause mischief and chaos and things of that nature. Whereas
yeah,
sometimes, in my opinion, these monitoring spirits sometimes can be sent to you by other people. So they can get
yeah,
these monitoring spirits to keep tabs on you, and they may even send these spirits to you in the form of someone that you know or are close to, or even an
yeah.
animal. Yeah. So,
Well, yeah, yeah. So like I was saying earlier, this is why it's key, and this is why I can't stress enough how important it is. I know you hear people, you know, saying raise your vibration, and but like really raise your frequency, and I really do mean raise it. That means getting out, you know, in the sun, in the sunlight, because this new sun is different. You know what I'm saying? And
mhm.
we constantly are going through upgrades. So make sure you on a frequency to where you can first, if that does happen, you able to see it. And then once you get to a certain level or a certain frequency of vibration, these things only become like gnats or pests, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Mhm.
you know, but let me say this though, on the path, if you still at a point to where you actually need to use some tools, I want to give you a couple of things that you can do at home. If you feel like you have a monitoring spirit, or if you feel like you have or you dealing with something at night, for example, you know, you may feel like there's an entity in the presence of you in the room, or you know, you feel like a lot of people experience sleep paralysis, and they feel like these entities, they'll send these little minions after you to come after you in your sleep. You know what
Wait a
I'm
minute.
saying?
Stop right there
Yeah,
for a second. Now, when you say these little minions, have you seen these things?
absolutely.
I have too. So let me ask you this, because you said little minions. Now that's what caught my attention, because I saw them before years and years ago.
Yeah.
It was three of them, and they were like little people.
Yep.
You
Yep.
saw those same things? Isn't that
Absolutely.
crazy? Now, I only met one other person in my lifetime that has told me that she saw them. It was a girl named Daphne. So that's interesting. So go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So, you know, when you're facing situations like that, first thing you're gonna do is first, like I said, spiritually cleanse, properly do that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And when you do it, like for example, if you're taking a spiritual bath, use cool water. You know what I'm saying? Not hot water. You
Mm-hmm.
want to use cool water because cool water is going to actually shake the energy off of it. And next thing, one of the things you can do is you can take a small, the little small mirrors you can buy, like little small round mirrors.
Yeah, like little
And what,
compact mirrors. Yeah.
yeah, in the room, because a lot of people like to do what they call, mirror magic and using scrying mirrors and things of that nature. Like I said, this is all, that's all kindergarten stuff when you first starting off. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So like you can take one of those mirrors and put one in each four corners of your room facing away, like facing the corner. So it's facing outward. not facing towards you. So anything or any energy trying to come into your space will be reflected back to wherever it came from. You know what I'm saying? So it's going back. It's not going to even get into your space. Another thing you can do is get you a small bowl and put you some sea salt in it and slide it up under your bed at night. You know what I'm saying? That also helps to keep certain energies and entities away. Now, if you really want to get serious with it, now this one right here will clear everything out of your home, out of your space. But get prepared though, because it's gonna clear everything. So you get you some sea salt, put that in a, you know, something like a little pan or something that won't burn. And
Okay.
you get you a little bit of alcohol. Pour the alcohol on top of the sea salt, just a little bit to make it damp. Then you want to light that on fire, and the salt is going to burn. And when the salt burns, it's going to give off a smoke. The smoke from the sea salt, the alcohol, the combination is so strong that it's going to clear out any dense energy that may be in your space or in your room, in that room at that time. And this will, yeah, this is it's like setting off a bomb for anything that's in your space. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay. Very interesting.
again, yeah, so I'm just giving just some simple things that if you are dealing with that you can do on your path, but nothing beats raising your frequency, because when you're on a certain
Right.
vibration, it does not, you don't have to really even worry about it in the first place. You'll be able to
That's right.
tell when something is going on, but
Yeah.
you don't have to you don't have to constantly go and use things or tools and things of that. These things are nothing more than tools.
Yeah, and
'Cause-
that stuff doesn't really. I really don't
yeah.
have. Well, back in my younger days, I would see
Mhm.
spirits, malevolent spirits, things like that. But I don't really have that problem now. But I did. Speaking of a spiritual bath, you said cool water, right?
Cool water,
For the
yes.
spiritual bath, because I had someone on the show not too long ago who felt like someone was putting some sort of witchcraft, black magic or something on them, and there was a lot of things that were going wrong in their life. And one of the things I told them to do was to in fact take a spiritual bath. I told them some other
Yeah.
things to do, but at the end of it all, they did reach out to me, and I think I had them back on the show to talk about the update, because they said all that stuff has ceased to happen and things got a whole lot better after they did all the things I told them to do. So the spiritual bath, guys, you should really be taking spiritual baths. Okay, yeah. Now just continue, because this is juicy.
Yeah, so definitely you can definitely do the spiritual cleansing. And again, cool water is closer to what the water feels like in nature. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And some
Right,
of
like
our
in a spring or something. Yeah.
yeah, like,
Spring.
and some of my lineage, some of my people, what they do is, some of the, shamans in my lineage or whatever, they will take the person, if it's that deep, if it's that serious, they actually take you out to the creek. You know what I'm saying? A real creek in the water, and and then you go out there and you cleanse in that real water. But again, man, that's it. Water is very important. The water element is very important for cleansing and purification. And I will say this, like I said, again, my whole thing is just, I'm always speaking to encouraging others to actually, get on that frequency. So when you get to a certain point, you don't necessarily have to even light a candle all the time. You become the flame. You become the water. You become the air. You become the earth element. So when someone is trying to do anything to you, again, working closely with nature and nature spirits, what I like doing, what I call elemental magic, when you work directly with nature and the elements, like nothing really is more powerful than that. The candles, the tools that you use actually come from nature. It comes from the elements. So when you're working directly with those elements, then there's a whole lot more energy and power. Like we talking about, honestly, what's a candle to the wind? Like you got to think about, using getting in tune and tapping into the elements and getting out into those secluded places so that you can actually hear. Because we so bombarded with these devices and low frequencies, extra low frequencies.
Yes.
Yeah, like get out there so that you can hear and quiet everything down. And I promise you, you'll start to get a whole lot of different downloads coming to you once you start doing that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because those things block. And also another thing, in my opinion, is if you stay up all night, like you don't get the proper rest, especially if you're not asleep during the hours when you should be in a deep state of REM, you miss out on your downloads. And another thing is if you fall asleep with the TV or the radio playing, then you're that's being programmed into your subconscious, and your dreams are not natural. Because if you fall asleep with the TV on, you're dreaming about what you're listening to on the TV, and you might be missing a download or something important, a prophetic dream or something. That's why I definitely don't do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I don't even advise having a TV in your room plugged up at night. Like if you do have one in your room, having it even plugged in, because those
Mm-hmm.
things again, they weaken the auric field. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Everything, the devices give off radiation, like I said again, which weakens your auric field. Now, the stronger you raise your frequency, your vibration will actually start to affect these devices. So you might walk in the room and your lights might start flickering, or your Wi-Fi
Yes.
might start cutting out because your vibration is too high. You become more powerful than the device, and so
Yeah.
you are, yeah.
I was gonna say that's definitely happened to me where I came in the room and the lights started
Mhm.
flickering. Now I didn't really notice it right away until someone brought it to my attention, and they were like, "Why did the lights start flickering as soon as you came in here and started talking?" So that's very true. That is
Mhm.
absolutely very true. Okay, and
Absolutely.
so, and the thing is, listening to meditative music, like letting that play through the night while you sleep, that raises your vibration, your frequencies also.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say that too. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Definitely. Helps get you into that theta state, that get you into those brainwave states to where you can actually you know uh,
Manifest.
yeah,
Yeah.
actually, yeah, definitely, definitely. So yeah, those things
Yeah.
help.
And I'm glad
Hmm.
you said that, because I did tell them that the best time to manifest is when you're in the theta brainwave state, which is when you usually what the state that you're in upon waking, because during the sleep you're in the
Hmm.
alpha. Okay, so that's all very interesting. So listen, I'm loving it. Now, let's talk about some of the stones and crystals, if you don't mind. Let's just
Hmm.
talk about um different stones and crystals that people could use, on a regular basis, like maybe for healing or just for to be more intuitive, things like that. What are some of your favorites?
My personal favorites, and again, we all, when we working with crystals, we all will find what actually works for us,
Right,
what we are drawn to. But
exactly.
some of my personal must haves is definitely citron. You know what I'm saying? Citron is
Mm-hmm.
one of my personal. I got one on me now. The citron is actually the fire element. Is very good for the solar plexus, personal power, manifestation, strength, raising your vibration, things of that nature. And also, since we talking about uh, spiritual entities and attacks and protection and things of that nature, I have to mention black tourmaline. That's a
Mm-hmm.
must have as well. Black tourmaline actually absorbs negative energy when you keep it in your environment. So instead of you taking on that negative energy, the crystal will actually absorb that negative
Absorbing it.
energy so that you
Right.
don't have to carry it. So, keeping some black tourmaline on you around your bed, around your home, that's a good one. Another one I like is selenite.
Yeah,
It's a white.
I like that too.
Yeah, selenite is it's a white stone. Now selenite is good, very good for the crown chakra. You get angelic, you get a lot of angelic messages when you work with selenite. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, it's definitely good for angelic contact. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's a good one to carry on you after your bath, like after you done that spiritual bath or that spiritual
Mm-hmm.
cleanse. You know what I'm saying? And you
Mm-hmm.
purifying, you put you on, you may want to dress in all white, get you some selenite, wear it around your neck, and that'll actually keep your frequency at a higher level. And it actually keeps you from even being affected by certain things. And
Okay.
another one I want to mention is um uh Moldavite. Moldavite is probably like one of the most powerful stones you can get. The only place it can be found is in the Czech Republic. It's actually not a crystal the same way that other crystals are, moldavite was produced by a certain meteor that struck the earth some years ago, and it's not even that many of them that's around. But when I say if you find some real moldavite right now, it's becoming more rare. I think for a stone this small, it's like now it's like $300 for a small one.
Ooh.
And but the first time I had moldavite, when I had it in the room, it lit up like the whole room, the whole frequency changed, and it don't even take a
Wow.
lot of it. So like,
Really? Okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna have to get one of those because I don't have one.
yeah.
Yeah. So my favorite is amethyst. First of all, that's my birthstone, but it's also the stone of the psyche. And I find that when I meditate with the amethyst on my third eye, that I have very vivid visions, and I sleep with one under my pillow also. So that's definitely my favorite. Now, when you were talking about the black tourmaline absorbing negative energy, I find that petrified wood does the same thing.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
so I like that. I also like the tiger eye, the gold and the red tiger eye. Both of those attract money. And then the bloodstone. I like the bloodstone because that is good for healing. And they say during the Civil War, the soldiers carried those on their person. So in case if they got an injury, they could use that to stop the bleeding. I like that. I like hematite, and because that's good for the blood. And then I like rose quartz.
Oh
And
yeah, rose quartz is good too. Yeah.
Rose quartz, I like working with that. And I also like the smoky quartz. I had a huge one of those. And I think somebody stole it. I was at someone's house, and I think someone stole it. But yeah, those are some of my favorites. And I do like the selenite. Now, what about have you ever done any work with obsidian or howlite?
You said obsidian? Yeah. I mean,
snowflake obsidian.
Yeah, I use obsidian too. Black obsidian I use obsidian. It's one of those ones I use along with tourmaline for protection and things of that nature as well. I don't have one around me right now, but if you go on my website, I have the black obsidian pyramids, orgone pyramids that you can set in your space and whatnot to discharge energy. I have one that's made of amethyst too. That's an actual pyramid. You can sit anywhere around. So, but yeah, I like.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna add to that. Another one that I forgot to mention was pyrite. I like pyrite too.
Oh, I like that too. Fool's gold. Yeah, I like that too. Definitely like that. Okay, so speaking of the Argon pyramid, I have an Argon pyramid with a tree of life on it, and it has amethyst in it. Now, do you think those are good? Because and I also have an Argon pendants, right? And so those are supposed to be good for keeping radiation away from you, like absorbing radiation out of the air. Yeah, so I really like those. Okay, so that's all cool. Okay, so anything else you want to bring up?
Again, just nothing in particular, but I know since we were speaking about the spiritual clones and things of that nature. Again, just be mindful during this time, because you got to remember that we in a time where the veil is extremely thin right now at this time. So things that may not could have gotten through before can actually get through. So you need to make sure that again, you're on a certain vibration, and that you are, you keeping yourself, you keeping a certain level of protection around you. You need to move. Your protection need to be better than Trump's protection was at that speaking. You need to look at your ancestral team like the Secret Service around you, protecting you at all times. Meaning,
that's right.
Meaning
that's
nothing.
Right.
Like before you even able to look into, before you even able to look into my my space or anything of that nature, like. It should be to the point to where they have to get past your Secret Service first. You're not even gonna get past the gate. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's right. And that's interesting, because I was telling them before, telling my subscribers before, that I went into this store called Synchronicity. This was years and years ago. And this lady, as soon as I walked in, she told me, she said, "You're a psychic." I know, because I'm a psychic too. And then she asked me where my people were from and what tribe they were from, because she saw the spirit of the shaman ancestors all around me. Now, it was very interesting because right before I came to that store, which was called Synchronicity, I was at another metaphysical store and I bought some stones and crystals, and I bought this little crocheted pouch to put them in so I could wear them around my neck. And I told the people that were with me that, basically I was going to do this because that's what the shaman did. And they were like, "How do you know what the shaman did?" And I was like, "I don't even know." But then when I went to the next store, like 30 minutes later, and she said she saw the spirit of the shaman all around me, that's how I knew, because they were telling me. And they visit me in my dreams. They visit me in my dreams. And it's interesting. I want to say this too. It's interesting that you mentioned shamans in your lineage, because everyone that I know that I'm really close to that has a lot of spiritual knowledge and information, they have shaman in their family, which makes them a shaman. Like myself, you, Sophia Stewart. So that's real interesting. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like what you just now said, it kind of goes back to my point earlier. When you said that you went and you purchased, something that the shamans wear or something. I think that's what you said, right?
Right.
So, and you said, and they asked you, how did you know that? That goes back to what I was saying earlier. That's that DNA, that's that genetic memory waking up. You might not know, you might not be conscious of it at the time, but it's still in your DNA. So something in your DNA is pulling you toward that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's why it's important to follow your soul's path and remain authentic. Remain authentic to you, and be able to hear yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to know when it's your spirit talking to you versus somebody else is trying to talk to you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's good you brought that up, because that's how some people are fooled by malevolent spirits when they think, when they're under the demonic influence, because the 3 stages, right? The oppression, the infestation, and then the possession. So when they're in the stage of oppression, they'll start having this demonic influence over them, and it'll be like almost someone whispering in their ear telling them to do something. And then some people think these are their own thoughts because they don't have the gift of discernment or the wherewithal to realize that these are minions trying to tell you to do this. Like people who want to take themselves out, take themselves off the planet, right? When they start having these sort of thoughts, that's usually not natural thoughts being formed by your own mind. That's usually a demonic influence putting these thoughts in your head. And if you don't have yourself a close connection to the Most High, and you're not very spiritually in tune, you won't even know that. You'll think these are your own genuine thoughts.
Right. And to add to that point, let me say this: like whenever you got to look at the mind is, the law, universal law of mentalism. The all is mind. Everything is mental. So you got to look at your mind as a garden. It's very fertile. And unless your mind was susceptible to undergoing those type of seeds to be sown into it, then you wouldn't be, those things wouldn't be able to affect you as much. So in retrospect, they do live inside of your mind, these thoughts and things of that nature. And sometimes what we like to call psychic attacks or demonic entities or energies are nothing more than our own demons talking to us.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you don't, and again, nothing is real unless the mind makes it real. So if something was implanted into your mind, if you continue to water it, that seed will continue to grow. And it's just nipping it every day in your ear, chattering to you. You just like on one shoulder, trying to get you to do, all of these different things. And, the more you feed that entity or that energy, the more it actually grows. So, you want to get to a space where you move from the heart space and not the head space. In the law, in Mayat, it says that, at the time of death, you have to let your heart be as light as a feather. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so we move from the heart space and not from the mind. And when I say move from the heart space, what I mean is actually getting into the present moment. So you're not too much up in the head. You actually moving from the heart. So let's say, for example, you're a painter or you're an artist or a musician. You might paint a picture, and then by the time the picture is done being painted, you don't know how that picture got painted because you were so much in the moment doing, what you do from the heart space that you didn't have time to be in the mind. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
the mind actually takes you outside of the present moment. When you thinking, you either are in the future or you in the past, but you're not in the present. You either thinking about what's going to happen or what has already taken place. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. I love it. Now, give everybody your information about your channel and your radio station.
Yeah, so you can catch me on my show Art of the Ancestors Radio every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by going to wdrbmedia.com. Again, that's Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen to that from anywhere in the world. If you are not awake at that time, just send me an email to be added to the list, and I'll send you a copy every week. My email is info@thehouseofancestors.com. And go check out my YouTube channel as well. I'm still growing that. Definitely go over there. I have some more content over there that I'm building. So the YouTube channel,
Absolutely.
yeah, the YouTube channel is at the House of Ancestors 7361. That's the YouTube handle. And and my website is just thehouseofancestors.com.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I really appreciate you coming on here. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
everyone does as well. With that all being said, we're gonna have to do this again. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
And maybe next time I'll come on your show.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. We
Yeah.
we'll try to set it up to where we can kind of maybe do like a double feature type thing, maybe. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
beloved.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoy the rest of your strong end, not the weekend. And so, to
Absolutely.
everyone that's tuned in, please be sure to follow God Ausere on his YouTube channel. Also, listen to him on his radio broadcast. And everyone, please like and share this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. And if you don't have a membership, you need to get one because there's going to be some exciting things coming up for the members. And next time, the collabs that I do or interviews, those things will be for members only. And God Ausere, I'm going to be having Sophia on here soon. Sophia
Okay.
Stewart. And
Okay.
God Ausere is actually the one who got me in touch with Sophia. That's the lady that wrote The Matrix and the
Yeah.
Terminator series. Okay, so yes,
Okay.
I talked to her last night. So yeah, or not last night, the night before. But yeah, so she's going to be back on here. I don't know if I'm going to have her on this channel or the main channel, but she's definitely got some stuff that I want her to talk about. So with
Yeah.
that all being said, I love you all to life. Thank you all for tuning in once again. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. I hope everyone has a blessed and prosperous, strong end. Until next time, peace.
Gratitude. Peace.